Welcome to today's episode. We're thrilled to introduce an extraordinary guest who's redefining what it means to be a leader in real estate. Brooklyn Kalista is a true powerhouse in the Canadian real estate industry. As the youngest president of a real estate board in Canada, she's broken barriers and set new standards for excellence. But that's just the beginning of her impressive story. Brooklyn is not only a successful broker and business owner, but she's also a visionary leader who's been transforming the industry since 2011. Throughout this episode, you'll hear how she's built a thriving team, navigated the challenges of entrepreneurship, and pioneered a new approach to balancing motherhood with a demanding career. From her early days working alongside industry veterans to becoming a sought-after speaker and mentor, Brooklyn's journey is filled with invaluable insights on leadership, business growth, and creating your own path in real estate. Get ready for an inspiring conversation about breaking ceilings, building community, and what it truly takes to succeed on your own terms. Let's dive in.
We have an incredibly special guest and very near and dear to me. We've got Brooklyn Kalista joining us today. She is a powerhouse, and we are in the same community, which makes me so excited. So we've known each other for many years, but I've always been inspired by watching her story. And one thing she's got so many things that are notable, but Brooklyn is to date the youngest president of a real estate board in Canada. I just think that just is a testament to her, to you. And I'm so proud to know you as a friend and colleague and have you here because I know you've got so much to offer our community. Thank you so much, Brooklyn.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I was honored when you asked. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. I'll go on your podcast. And likewise, being in the same community, you have always been somebody that I have followed as well, just going and always creating your own curve and building your business. And I'm somebody who believes when you want to grow, you look to others. You can always learn something from other people. And so you always look at what other people are doing and how they're getting there. And I just always loved watching what you were doing and kind of following and making it in my own way, running my business too. You've been such a good leadership point.
Thanks, girl. Well, when I started in real estate, Brooklyn's dad was my first broker owner. Right? Was he the broker? Was the owner.
He's never been a broker.
That's right. But you're a broker. So Brooklyn is a broker as well, which I think, again, which is really cool about you is you dive in wholeheartedly. You're an owner, you're a broker, you're all these amazing things. And you started in 2011? Am I right?
Yeah, back in December, we could call it 2012.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Long time. It's crazy how quickly it goes by. And then reflecting about how young I was when I got into it and still so young, but it's actually crazy. It's been a ride.
Well, and then just to be honest, speaking from experience, we just don't stop being young.
No. Never.
Right, Desi?
Yeah. I used to hear those agents and they'd be like, I've been in the business 20 years. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And now, oh no, I've been in the business 20 years.
Oh, I know. I told someone the other day, I was like, okay, I was anxious to be able to say 20. At a certain point, I felt like that was a pivotal moment of maturity in business. But then now I'm not excited about being over that. So I'm just 20 plus. I will never say beyond that. That's it's kind of I'm never going to be older than 45.
Okay.
You girls will eventually meet me in age. We're the same age. Which I think is really fun. Yeah. And the other really cool thing is Desi, being down in Burley, has met Brooklyn because when we did an Agents Without Borders conference here, she was on her panel and we had so many good comments about how well you presented on the panel, which I thought was so cool. So tell us a little bit about how I want to know I know how you got started in the sense that it was in your family, but tell us a little bit about it because not everybody that's listening knows. I know. So share with us.
So I guess it's kind of funny because even though my dad was a realtor and owned the brokerage, I actually don't think that that's what made me want to do it. I feel like back then the industry was very different, and I came from a split home. My parents divorced while I was quite young. And really, my dad only had us on weekends. And so, as a realtor, how life functions. And I think being like a single dad on the weekends, I didn't honestly get like this amazing feeling from real estate. I will say that the energy that Bob had about dealing with people and, when you close a deal and all those nuances that come in with real estate, I did get capture to that in how to, you know, work with people, learn personalities, deal with scenarios, definitely get a little bit of an ear in on that. But I didn't, grow up thinking like I'm going to be a real estate agent. I
Do
went
you
through
think that you actually were maybe even a little bit turned off of it because he wasn't present on the weekends? Like you felt like maybe he could have been?
Yeah, I don't know. I was a very, I would say, like easygoing child that way. When I look back as an adult, sure. But would I say it when I was that young that I was sitting there maybe stewing? Maybe a few times, when somebody's not there on time or they miss, your goal and your sport or whatever. Yes, like you for sure have those feelings of, oh, but I don't ever feel like I hosted resentment to it. I think it was very understood, I guess I should say that like this is kind of what you do. Like I'm working to support a household and build a life and all those sorts of things. And so I think it was ingrained in me at a young age that like that is what was happening. And we had a good life. Like we were never without food or shelter or any of those things. And so I was also taught to be, grateful, like you appreciate what you have. Like we work hard and all those sorts of things. And so I feel that that probably shone brighter than the opposite. Um, I knew I liked to work with people. Like I found that out once I got to an older age because I'm actually like an extrovert introvert. I really need like my own space. I love my cozy time and I just like to be with me. So I went through high school. I did okay. I wasn't like, your top grade person. If I were to pick something that I thought I was going to do at that point in time, I really thought maybe something in like nursing or law. Nursing, because I always felt like I wanted to help people. I feel like that was always in me to want to help others or be a part of something that was like just bigger than me. In the law, I don't know where that would have come from at all.
Well, I can
Maybe
tell
like
you
law and
because
order.
you're so articulate. Like you're extremely articulate. Like, and I feel like you would make an amazing lawyer. So I can tell that you would like me. There's no way. I'd be up there and I'd just like, I can't remember something.
But
the
you
judge
would
would
be
be
like,
you're just like on it.
Well, my mom did
Yeah.
watch Law and Order. It's like dun. That's so maybe that was it. I had this like vision of what being a lawyer would be. I don't know. But
You would be a very cool lawyer. You'd be
right?
very cool.
It would be
Yeah.
amazing, except in medicine hat, I feel like I'd just like level into like real estate or family law.
Yeah, you'd be like, I'm just
Totally
gonna do real
interesting,
estate
but
law. No, but you would be like a criminal lawyer on Law and Order. That's what I see
or
for
to be,
you.
like suits,
to
like
play one on
Law and
TV.
Order.
You're like, I just need a really good suit. And then I'm ready. I'm ready. Like it's just for success, and then we'll figure it out afterward.
So I played competitive in soccer since I was 12 and on. And then when I graduated, I got a scholarship and I went to college on that. And I did business administrative and I just took like marketing, management, and accounting, which is not my jam. And I just kind of realized at that point in time, I think that the idea of like entrepreneurship was building in me that I thought, oh, this is kind of neat, like learning all the different aspects. And we had to build businesses. And I found intrigue in that. And then at the time, you're young. I graduated at 17. I was a January baby, so started early. And then as soon as I turned 18, you're working in restaurant facilities because tips at that time were life.
Tips were
And
awesome.
tips were awesome. And so
Yeah.
I worked at Roscoe's and Earl's in our city center. And I worked at like cell phone booths, like that wireless wave cell phone booth.
Oh my gosh, you were
Yes.
at one of those?
Was. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Yes.
You should reenact that in a
Right?
video.
I remember when the first iPhone came out, like all the things. But at that time, I knew like I always did well in tips. I always did well in my sales at Wireless Wave because I loved working with people and I liked creating an experience. And so fast forward, actually at the time I would have been 21 and I was kind of feeling like I wanted a bit of a change. Like I was done kind of running those jobs. I was starting to think, in my 8-hour shift, if there was dead moments, I'm like, man, you know what? I really feel that I could do so much more. Like if I was in full control of my time, 8 hours a day in a shift, like just alone that time frame, like what could I do? And so then I did start to think, you know what? Maybe real estate is a good calling for me at that time. And I think you see it in a different light. Now I was more mature too. I wasn't a child anymore. And the industry adjusts, right? At the time, my dad had recently bought Dominion Lending Centers. And so when I had been in discussion about doing this, he had kind of said, like you're still a little bit young. I was 20 at the time taking the course. He said, I'm not sure people will take to that, but like, I think you should take your mortgage brokering course. So I did. I really valued that opinion. I know a lot of people didn't. I really valued that opinion, right, of somebody who had been in industry. And I've always struggled with failure and probably not in a healthy way. It has gotten me very far in life. But now I have a healthy, I think, relationship with it after a lot of work internally on me. But growing up, it was like I did not do well with failure. So it's like you got to do things and do it well. And so when my dad said, like, I think you should do this, I thought, you know what? I'm really going to trust that. He's been in industry for a really long time. And so I took my mortgage broker's course. I got my examination done. And then my sister got in a horrible motor vehicle accident on a crotch rocket with her partner. And sadly, he passed. And
my
we
gosh.
were very lucky that she lived. This was back in 2008. And it shook my world as a young person. I lived with my sister. She walked out the door that day, and you realize like you've lost grandparents, you've lost people in your life, but that was like my sister and someone young. Like I had never been faced with that. And it was just so close to home. Like she left, I got a call like an hour later and life was different. You know what I mean? And so you learn very quickly that when they say like life isn't promised and like you wake up and you have a choice to do what you want to do each and every day and like make that choice with a lot of thought. Don't be thoughtless with it because you're never guaranteed. And to learn that so young, I think is like a very special thing that came like into my path. And so I dropped a lot of what I was doing to help my sister. She was up in Calgary. So our whole family, right, we were functioning very differently. And just supporting my sister any way she could. When she came back, she was in wheelchair. She lived with me. I can remember packing that thing up, shoving it in the back of my little Mazda 3, taking her to the mall to get her out and about. And it was just like very different. And so although I had gotten my mortgage broker's course, that hit me in a way that I was like, it put a little bit of hold on me actually starting that process. But I think it was for the best because then I had some thought after that and then change of life and into new relationship. And I thought like, that isn't what I want to do. I really want to do real estate. I don't want to be looked at somebody who's like floppy and all over the map because that's not me at all. I'm not indecisive. It's like, this is what I want. That's what I'm doing. And so fast forward, my sister had a great recovery. and life gets back to normalcy. That's like anything else. And I had gotten into a relationship with a different person. They were in business, entrepreneurship, and they were very like supportive of me also being in that seat. And so at the time, we had then decided, yeah, I'm going to get licensed. And I went up to Calgary because you could still do the course there, and got licensed in real estate. And so I started in a partnership, which is also kind of different because it was a partnership like personally, but also in business.
Yeah.
It did not work out for me. It works
Mhm.
out really well for some people, but it was just not the right space for me. And then that had ended, which was a whole nother journey, to be honest. Um, Also being quite young, 24, and I had built a business with that person, and it was terrifying,
Yeah,
actually,
just
just yeah,
restarting.
to restart. And he was really into marketing, and so, like, he had put our faces together, like, everywhere.
Yeah, I do
And
remember that.
so, yeah, like 36 bus benches and this and that. It was wild, more than more than I do now, right?
Yeah.
And so it was like, oh my gosh, is this like career suicide? But I knew relationship wise, it was um it was not a healthy environment, and it was taking an extreme toll on my health, which is another part of journey with me. And so then when we detached, it was like another moment of, okay, I've got to like restart this and begin again. And at the time, actually, my dad didn't really appreciate that relationship that I was in. And that made me starting in real estate. That picture looked very strange because it what I not that I had an expectation, but I thought that there was gonna be so much excitement. I thought my dad was gonna just, like, absorb the fact
Like,
that I was
just be
here.
so stoked, like, and
Yeah,
supportive, but
yeah,
because he wasn't a fan
yeah,
of the relationship, he was a
yeah.
bit cold to it.
It seemed a little bit cold, yeah. And his childhood, like, which he's made me very aware of was, like, his father was in Auschwitz, and it kinda, that trickles, right? In a fact that, like, you have to work for what you want. Nothing's given to you. Like, there's always that concept, and so Bob was very much that way too, which, to be honest, I appreciate that side of things because I do think you have to work for what you want, and when you're just given something, especially in this industry or any kinda entrepreneurship of building a business, I don't know if that's a gift, But so I appreciate that, but I think the mix between that and then the relationship, it just felt very detached and almost a dynamic that I was like, "Oh, I don't actually this was not what I envisioned. I don't love this."
It's interesting to me so, anyway, we started this where I said I felt like I knew your story, but I didn't at all.
Yeah.
Like, this is and we met for coffee and discussed
Yeah.
things, but I've never I guess because I thought I knew, right? I just
Yeah.
think that's really interesting in the sense that, like, you've pushed through so many obstacles at a young age when we're so like, I was very flippant when I was in my early 20s. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that if I had gone through what you'd gone through that I would have stayed in the industry.
Well, from like an outsider looking in, I bet a lot of people just assume, oh, Brooklyn's dad did it. Like she just fell
It was
into
handed
it.
to
Like
her.
it was
Yeah.
handed to her, and it wasn't. That's not the case. There was a lot in what you
No, I was like writing notes.
Oh, but one of the first things I want to talk about really quick is your relationship with failure. And I know I've had a similar relationship with it where it's like, I can't fail. I'm a people pleaser. I'm going to do it right. I'm a perfectionist. And it has served me well as well. And I'm also working on trying to um, repair it into like a more healthy way. But do you feel like to some extent that view is required to be successful? At least getting your start.
Maybe. I don't wanna say, like, anything too solidly because I'm sure there are other people who get to a successful point, whatever that looks like to them, without having, like, that damaged trauma piece in there. But for me personally, I do believe that that was the case. I was more of an insecure person. Like I always kind of felt like I didn't really love myself. Like I didn't like how I looked. I didn't, do the best in school. I wasn't like I didn't do awful, but you know what I mean? It's like you always want to be the top tier, and that wasn't the case for me. And I think that that made me feel insecure. You compare to other people. Like I had really hard time with examination. It gave me extreme anxiety. And so although I knew the information, I would just do very well on every part of the curriculum, but then you get to an exam that's worth so much and it just would bring down your grade. And I find that like with that and having those insecurities, and then I had characters in my life that I didn't feel enough for. I never felt like it was just like enough being there. And so I had seen by their lifestyle that, okay, if I do really well, like when I do well, I would get an accolade. If I played my sport and I was in the paper, it was like, ooh, you were in the paper, right? So I think I gleaned off that in the start in a negative way. But I think I needed that. Just knowing my personality and my character traits at that time as a child and growing into adolescence, where maybe not everybody does, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can relate to that a lot. And I think it's
Aw.
cool that you're working towards something different because I imagine the pattern that it's going to create for your kids.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're breaking generational patterns. So I think that's really, really admirable.
And I'm sorry you had to deal with something like that too. It's like, yeah, yeah, I feel for you. And I'm sorry that that was part of your journey, but obviously it bode very well for you too.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like you both have turned something that you could perceive as a negative into something that's been very positive, but realizing that we can all change at any point, but it's just work. You have to put the work in. Because I know that's something that we relate on. I feel all three of us is like there's a piece of our journey which isn't just all like at the working, like head down, like crushing it in work. It's like self-work, right? It's like if we can do this self-work, it makes our work lives more sustainable.
Yeah.
And I
Because
never realized that you could enjoy what you're doing as much as you actually can. Like,
yeah,
you
like
can,
I know, right? Like
you can
15 years of
Yeah.
real estate for me, and I didn't like just in the last little while. It's like, and even things like this, it's like
yeah.
connecting. Like it's kind of unheard of in the old school real estate. Hey, Brooklyn, like when you're talking about like how like real estate's changed, I mean, for people to get together that we're like essentially we're competitors in the industry, right? But it's like for us to be able to get together and have these conversations and share and collaborate, like I feel like it's shifting, and especially for moms. Like I think working moms is a whole other special sector that like people have no idea like
Yeah.
what goes on there, right? Like except if you're a mom. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Well, being a mom in general is like a journey. And then you throw in any kind of other task of wanting to build something, whether that's like your self-health journey or you are building a business or, hey, you're trying to do all three. And I just think that like whatever you choose, it's a big mountain to climb and you can get to where you need to be so many different ways. But it's so nice to meet people along the way that are going to help build you up. And I do find that like when I was like the first one in our office that had a baby and was like, no, I'm working with this baby. And I can remember people saying to me like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like kind of smile a little bit like coy about it. And I thought like, well, yeah, you don't know me. I do know that, hey, if I have a really colicky baby and life is hell within my four walls, yes, that's going to look different. I was blessed with wonderful children. It doesn't mean that it's without like hardship. You're raising a little human, and there is always like nuances that come with that and change and all the mental health side of things. But like I brought my babies everywhere with me, and I just went with the mentality because I think you have to, that if this was like, I wouldn't do it knowing my personality if I couldn't show up and do the best that I could. I just wouldn't, especially working with people. Like, I'm a people come first person, and I wouldn't compromise that. And so I just thought, you know what? It's not a me thing. If somebody else doesn't appreciate that I have a baby here with me, that's okay. And I'm going to have to learn to respect that and not take that as judgment or be like hurt or whatever from it, and just understand that that's not my people. And I remember having that mantra just like nonstop because of that concept of like not wanting to fail and then feeling like I'm not enough and just always having to like build up on that. And I can remember going through that. And I don't feel like I had anybody to talk to. I wasn't invited to moms groups, even by my closest friends. And I think it's because they were going through their own thing too, but also maybe they just made the assumption that I was busy. But that's a whole nother concept. But I felt very alienated in my space. And it just made me kind of gear in more and realize like, I'm here for my family. I'm here for my kids. I'm here building a life that's, beautiful, and that's the number one thing, right? So
And
it was good for my mental health in that side. Like, I knew what I needed, but that's a whole
we could have a whole podcast on that.
yeah.
I will say though, I have to tell you, because I had my kids sooner.
Yes.
And I didn't do what you did. Like, I put my kids in daycare right early on. I kind of pretended like I didn't have kids almost. Like, it was like nothing was a worry, and don't be like, you know what I mean? And like, I was of that old school mentality in the sense of, because that's all I knew. And then I saw you post something once, and my heart was so full for you that you broke that ceiling. Like, it was just like, thank you, Brooklyn, for changing the face of motherhood and real estate in our community. Because I didn't know anything beyond that. Like, I hadn't met Desi yet. My kids are older now, but like, I know I've been watching Desi. She, you incorporate your family into your business too. And I just feel like it's so inspirational for other moms. And to not only see you, like, yes, you're a real estate agent, but you're running a team and you're running your brokerage. Like, there's just so many things you're doing on top of that, plus being a really amazing mother, the from what I can see,
Thank you.
And I just think it really inspired me, and it made me, of course, I have a lot of mom guilt. So I just compounded a little. Like, oh shit, I should have done that. But
but I can remember when my kids were young, like I want to say Kalista was around 2, and I was driving down First Street and we were working on a deal together, and you said to me, like, don't ever compromise time with your children because it goes by so fast, Brooklyn, and you don't get it back. And I was like, you know what? I won't, right? Like, that wasn't a question to me, but life always gives you subtle reminders, whether it's like to keep you on your path or to keep you whatever. And as I mentioned, like, I've always kind of watched you too, but you don't know the inner workings of like what somebody's doing on a day-to-day or where they're thinking mentally or whatever, right? Like, you kind of just get to know a surface value. And I just remember, like I say, to a T, like you saying that to me.
I've said that to a few moms.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a mom, I may be like information you don't want to hear, but like, I can't help myself. I'm just like, I have something I need to share with you.
Yes.
But again, like Desi's got 5 kids. So
Yes. No, it's
you've
wild.
got the gambit. And how have you changed it, Desi? Like, have you, like, in the beginning, were you more like me, or have you always?
I was definitely more like you. So I carry a lot of guilt. Like, when I had my last kid, because I didn't get into it until I already had 3 kids. And in the beginning, I just pretended like I didn't have kids. Like, my clients would never know I had kids. I wouldn't tell them like, oh, I have my child's sporting event or I have a play or whatever. It's like, I don't have kids. And
that's like that people pleasing thing, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is what they want to hear. I'm making sure that I'm giving them what I think they want to hear.
Yeah, it's like, you're my top priority. Like,
Yeah.
screw my family, screw anything else. You are the only thing I'm worried about. And that's not the right way to do it. What I found, so I put my youngest 2 in daycare when we moved here because we didn't have we don't have really a support system. And they would cry every day when I would go drop them off. And every day I'd leave the parking lot and cry the whole way to work. And it just felt awful. And then he was probably 2, my youngest, when I was like, this isn't how I want it to look. And so, or maybe he was actually like 3. But anyways, I just started taking him to work with me every day, and he would just chill and play. And then he went to kindergarten, and it's half day here, so I'd pick him up and bring him. And now I just have set boundaries where it's like at 3:00 I go get my kids, and I spend a couple hours with them every day, and it's been great, and people have respected it. They've actually been like, "Oh no, your kids, like, yeah, of course those are the most important thing." And if somebody, like Brooklyn said, if they're not okay with that, then they're not my people. I don't need those clients. So,
Did you, when you became the president of the board, Brooklyn, that was before kids, right?
Yeah.
What year was that?
So that was 2015. And then I ran all the way through because you do a past presidency. So I was only a couple years into my real estate career. And to be honest, like at that time, right? Like you're starting a business, you have so much time on your hands. It's like, how can I engage more with this industry? Because it was like a non-negotiable. I want to be successful in this. And so there was openings on the board. And so I went and I did that. And I don't even know if it was actually at that time like a voting system. I could have even been lued in as just like a director on the board.
You were voted in. You were
Was
for
that?
sure voted. Yeah.
I have no idea. But I started that journey.
You were voted in.
And then I worked up to president, and actually I didn't even know I wasn't doing it for any kind of accolade. I just actually really enjoyed being on the board. Because you don't realize what actually runs your industry, which I thought was like just such valuable information to have, especially being young and realizing like, wow, there's a lot of moving parts and there is politics and everything that has, a span. And so I really enjoyed learning that side of things and just kind of continued up. And then when I became president, we were at, I think it was a CREA meeting, and our president of Roy LePage was there, Phil Soper, and he had said, he had come across and he said, "Do you realize like you're the youngest president in Canada?" Like I just think that's really awesome. And then he asked me to speak at one of our Roy LePage conferences about it, which I'm one, like a yes person, and 2, when things make you feel really uneasy, I think you really should say yes sometimes, depending on how that gut is turning. But I had that angst where I was like, I don't like to speak in front of people still to this day, not a joy of mine, but I'm like, hey, I think I have to do it. So that's actually how I had kind of found out that I was the youngest president in Canada at the time. And I think it still runs.
That is
And
so
then
cool.
after that, I ran my past presidency, and I was working on my broker program while doing that. So it's a 2-year course. It's very different than the real estate course, by the way, if anybody's thinking about getting into it. And
No.
I actually,
I'm like, hard no. Like for me, other people.
it's actually kind of a funny story because so you have to take your property management. And so that's the first step. So I didn't have property management. So I order my course, and I had gone through like my presidency and then my past presidency, which is still a busy position. And then I'm getting married, right? So the year I'm getting married and the day before my wedding, I had no choice. It's like I got this notice a week prior, like you need to take your property management exam. It's going to expire. And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't even really like dug into my books. So anyways, I went hard. I did not even tell anybody, not even my husband to be, that I was taking this exam because you guys, I was so nervous that I might not pass because I so like I completely just was not aware of my timeline. And anyway, so I took it the day basically before we got married, and I passed my exam.
Yeah.
But it was like yeah, then we got married, and then it was like we were pregnant right away, and then 9 months later came Kalista.
Yeah. And then you're just like doing all the things.
Yeah.
I
So
love
it's all
that.
very like bang, 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 bang.
Well, you are such a proponent of learning. You must have a couple of books or podcasts that you can recommend to our listeners that they can dive into, or even Desi and I can dive into. I'd love to hear what you.
Oh my gosh, so many. Yeah, so one book that I can remember, my dad had brought it up when I was young, and I did read it, and it's just like a quick read. I don't necessarily like love the name of it just because I feel like I don't resonate with like it. But Think and Grow Rich is a really good book. If you're somebody who's looking to like want to get that growth and get to a level, that's a good book to read. Anything with habit stacking, so Atomic Habits, I love that book. I've read that book a couple times just solely because it's so true. It's like the little things that you do each and every day, and then all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, wow, I'm a whole new person. But it came from that habit stacking that you're just doing consistently.
I love that book. That's a good. Have you
Yes.
read that one, Desi?
I love it. Yes.
Yeah, I know. It's on my audiobooks. So sometimes
Yes.
I just like need a little freshie while I'm driving.
Right.
Just throw that one in.
Yeah, there are like other books that are very in depth on like the spiritual side of things, or more of like a Buddhism side of things, but that's like on an off side.
But
And
not though.
podcasts.
I feel like we're so interested in that.
Yeah.
Like it's just like that's one of my favorite things. Like I mean, there's so many reasons that I love you, but like
Mhm.
to know that you're very like in tune and working on becoming in tune with your like
Yeah.
spiritual self is just
Yeah.
like I think that resonates with so many people right now.
Yeah. Anything with Eckhart Tolle is, to me, it's like right in my energy space. It just works well for me. And there's a couple others. Podcasts. Oh, you know what? One that stands out the most is 10% Happier. That is probably by far my favorite.
Have you listened to that, Desi?
I have not. No, I'm writing it down right now.
It's so good. Like, yeah, it's so good to me. Like the speakers that Dan gets on there, and just the content is so relatable, something that you can apply to your life like instantaneously. It's just, I don't know. I love it. I listen to it every single day. So I wake up. I'm not like a super early morning wake up person. I'm like up just kind of when my kids are getting up, but then they kind of know it's like I'll do my meditation in the morning. So it can be anywhere from like 10 to 20 minutes. And I have the Brain Tap app. It just works really well for me. I'm not always wearing like the headset with the lights and everything, but in the morning, I'm just putting that on and I'm picking something that resonates with me. Maybe it's just like a sound wave that's like resetting and reformatting your brain, or maybe there's words to it, but I'll do that 10 to 20 minutes in the morning. And then we get our kids off to school. And then I put on my 10% Happier, and I will deal with that. And like, that's the first chunk of the morning. Obviously, like you're doing some business points and stuff in there too. And sometimes a podcast will take me like throughout the day to listen to. Like I won't finish the last bit of it until I'm like driving home from a showing at night, but it's just like what I do.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's such a good tip. So we have one more question for you to top it off. But if there was something you could tell your younger self or advice you can give to agents that are getting into the industry, young or old, or more wiser, what would you say? We'd love to hear that.
So I would probably say something that stands out to me. Like I was very close with my dad's mom, my grandma. And I can remember at the time when I was going through an extremely hard time in my first relationship. And she came over and she just said to me, like, tomorrow will look a little different, dear. And I thought, you know what? From a woman who has been through wartime, she had a crazy life story. And I just thought for her to sit there in front of me and just wholly mean that in the most humble way, that tomorrow will look a little different. I found that to be very special, and that sat with me since that day. And I've shared it with other people too, because It is so true. You can get so caught up in your thoughts and entangled in life. And you think that the moment that you're dealing with is going to like ruin everything or last forever or change everything for the worst or whatever. Like your brain can just go on a crazy tangent, but to just know that tomorrow will look a little different, I think is super helpful. And just that like what you put into life is what you get out. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't have to just be about success or growing something or being the biggest or the best. It's like with true intention. And I think that if you do that and you have that, you work hard, you have passion, you put people first and you build that kindness and love, I think that you can do really great things. And so those would probably be the things that I would say because they pair well together, I think. And just like always know you have the power, like to make your next choice. You may not like what you're dealing with. And I agree. It like making a choice doesn't make your situation better, but you do have a choice of how you're going to feel about something or the next steps you're going to take or what you're going to curate. And don't get stuck blaming other people because you have a choice to not do that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will look a little, and I think that's the thing, right? Tomorrow will look a little different. I
It
love
does.
that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. I feel like if anybody takes anything away, which I'm sure they're going to take all kinds of little tidbits away on personal growth and journey. And where can people get in touch with you? How can people connect with Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Kalista?
I am most active, I would say, on Instagram, but of course I have it feeding to Facebook too. And it's just Brooklyn Kalista just through Instagram. And Facebook is Brooklyn Kalista Royal page, I think. But if
That's
you search
okay.
my name,
You're allowed to not know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
Well, and that's the funny thing about realtors. They're like, I couldn't figure you out. I'm like, just Google me. I'm like, I can
know.
find. I mean, there is other Elizabeth McNally's, but you can kind of figure out which one. Based on that, I'm sure you're the
I
only
went
person.
to the old time market last night, and there was some good stuff there, by the way.
Yeah.
And
I
I
think
got
so.
like this like ginger turmeric like mix, but it's got like a gingerbread like edge to it.
Oh, I totally know who you bought that from.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you would for sure. Yes. But anyway, so she like one of the girls, the other girl I think knew, but anyway, so they're looking at me and we said, we'll come back and buy it on our way out. And so then when we come back, she's like, okay, I think I know you from somewhere. And like, in a small community that happens all the time. And I'm just like, it's almost like I even said to her, I'm like, I cringe having to say it because I feel like it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm a realtor. And she's like, oh, right. I see your billboard everywhere. We were talking about it after you left. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it is. And you know what? It was kind of nice because she's like, oh, you shouldn't cringe. You should say it proudly. But I'm such a humble person that I hate to be like, oh, it's because I'm a realtor. You see me. Like that's how it feels, but that's not how I mean it. It's just like I know that that's what they're thinking, Anyway, so
I feel like we can all relate to that.
yeah.
Like, Desi has a billboard. Desi has a billboard when you come into town, right, Desi? So then they're like, where do I know you from? You're like,
My billboard.
or
Yeah.
like your billboard.
Right.
Oh my
And it's so true. It is. You can just kind of Google and, fortunately, unfortunately, the name comes up and
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. We're findable. We're findable. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, this has been so good. Thank you so much, Brooklyn.
You're welcome.
Like you are such a special person and I just love seeing you thrive and grow.
Oh, likewise. Both of you. I mean, Desi at a distance, but obviously since you two got together, then you follow and you just like, I'm a follower.
Oh,
it's like, I
you've
know
gotta
it. I
be.
know
You've gotta be.
your
Like
shop gym. I know like your pickups. I know all the things.
well, and I think the thing is, which is beautiful about like how we were just talking about how the evolution of real estate is like I've definitely seen it. You ladies have seen it in different ways. But I just love this collaborative spirit that seems to be like in vogue, but like I hope it stays for the rest of time. And I know it will. Like, because it's
Yeah.
just like people are like, it's so refreshing. Like,
Yeah.
I love learning and watching from you both or other people that I'm taking, like, and they don't have to all be in real estate, right? Like, they're just
No.
like people that are doing things differently and inspirationally. And it's just nice to know that they're normal.
Yeah.
Like, I like really like to know that you ladies are just normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a funny thing. You look at the world, and if you are on your own, like you have to honestly think about it. Like when you're feeling like envy or you're feeling that competitive nature of like that person's bigger or better, it's like you have to strap back and think, okay, well, these people are put in your path for you to view, and there must be reasons. So, like, dig into that because if we were just alone in like a little petri dish, like, what would your growth be? We are
Yeah.
all looking at other people. I don't care
Mhm.
who you are. Like nothing is built from without community or from seeing another idea. And now you're going off that idea. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in our head about like the competitive side of it or not feeling enough or, well, I don't want to copy or you copy that person. And it's like, no, that's what everybody's doing. And we all have a passion and it should be complemented. Right. And I believe that. And I'm so happy to see it too. I think in our industry, there's still a long way to go for that. Where we don't, feel like if you are a top producer that there are people below that maybe have judgment or thoughts or these sorts of things. But it goes the other way too when you're on that lower part and you're just starting your business and you're building, you have a lot going on in your headspace too. But if we all just leveled out and just chatted things and got to know each other outside of an image that we think is what it is, I think we would be very humbled and that growth just comes.
100%.
Yeah.
Love that.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Brooke.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank
Thanks
you
for
for
being with
having
me.
me.